Welcome to this new episode of KET Talks, the podcast of KET Magazine. I am Philippe and I am your host, and the lucky host even, because I am surrounded with fabulous people. Hello Vincent, what's your energy level today?
Well, it's been pretty low, but seeing you guys make it up.
Ah. Hey. And you Bogat, you feel spring coming?
Oh, definitely, I'm in full bloom.
And you Vjeran, you also feel those blossoms?
I feel the butterflies everywhere.
Everywhere. So today we talk about the letter A in the LGBTQIA. This letter usually refers to allies in our community. But what does it mean when somebody says, I'm an ally? So we talk about this with an ally today. So finally we have a fresh face around this COVID safe table. Hello, Bea. You have really no idea how pleased we are to have you here. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm very good, and I'm literally very honored that I'm going to be the first ally in this series of your podcast. So thank you so much. I'm honored.
Thank you for joining us.
And just some more information, you are really engaged into the defense of human rights.
Mm-hmm.
But next to that, you love 60s rock and roll.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
You love poetry.
Yeah.
And you love martini. So do you like it shaken
Guilty
or
pleasure.
stirred?
The mission is to get shit-faced, so I can drink it just whatever you want to give me.
Okay, let's do both. White shoes. I
I
propose.
second that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, after the show, let's have a martini.
Great.
I propose we jump into our topic of the day with our queer Wikipedia source, Vincent.
Oh my God, so much pressure now. So yeah, just to introduce the topic today for those who might not know what is an ally, let's give a few points about what it is. So when we talk about an ally to the whole LGBTQI+ community, we talk about people who are not LGBTQI+. So what does it mean? People who are male or female, not intersex people who are cisgender, which means that they still refers to their gender in the category they were put when they were born, and people who are usually heterosexual. So these people, if they adopt and support the vision of the LGBTQI+ word, they will be considered as an ally. So what it means, actually, it means that allies, they recognize the right that everybody has to be recognized on its own, and also what we talked in previous podcasts, the concept of self-determination. So they know that everybody is the only one that can define themselves, and they're not here to define other people's gender identity or sexual orientation identity, for example. It's people then who learn about LGBTQI+ rights, about their situation, about their history, and they recognize that the struggle of LGBTQI+ people is part of the human rights struggles, and they decide to engage in it. In doing so, they recognize the privilege that they have for not being LGBTQI+. So they recognize the struggle of LGBTQI+ people in everyday life. And at the end, knowing all of that, they decide to act and to support LGBTQI+ people in their fight for inclusion. So basically, that's the few aspects I wanted to throw at Bea. Maybe now,
Nice, thanks
so now she can tell us if she recognizes herself maybe in these different points and in which dimension.
Sure. Okay. Well, that was an amazing introduction to refresh a bit about everything. And yeah, to be honest, for me, it is something that it's funny that you asked me, because it's something that for me it's quite automatic. I've never really. Maybe it's because I was lucky enough to have been living in or having a background where, I don't know, my parents were very open about everything. I had I never questioned myself about what would the sexual orientation of someone define about that person, right? So, I would always have friends from all kinds of backgrounds, cultures, anything, right?
Beautiful.
So for me, it was something that actually I've been thinking about more when I grew up, because obviously it's a topic that it's out there, people talk about it and everything, and you start wondering, okay, yeah, what is this? You start getting educated. That's something that is very important. But yeah, it is true that, of course, I will never understand 100% what, like the struggles that you guys do sometimes experience. But when I think about, my childhood, the friends that I had and everything, I have seen things. Like, I have seen, like, how friends of mine, very good friends of mine, have suffered a lot with their families accepting their sexual orientation in school and university. Like, this is nothing like that is far away. Like, it's still happening right now. And I always found myself, very automatically defending them because, not because of anything special, but because, I don't know, it's a human being that for no reason at all, it's receiving that kind of daily bullying that doesn't even stop at school, but that continues at home.
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, I don't know if this sounds like I'm not a savior or anything, but like for me it was something like I never thought about it. Like, and I mean, my friends that have gone through that phase, they always felt very confident about telling me everything. So I guess that could be seen, you correct me guys, but that could be seen as someone that is there to help as an ally. So
Of course.
So it's just natural, actually. So
for myself, yes. Like, I never really thought about it. I saw someone struggling repeatedly for no reason, for reasons that actually, this is what quite funny, that I also experienced a bit because I was a woman in school. I also suffered bullying, like probably all of you or some of you, I don't know, also from the audience. So I don't know, you do sympathize because at the end, like, there's some unnecessary suffering there that you're seeing, that you also experience in very different ways, but still suffering is suffering.
Yeah.
And I don't know, from the very beginning, I try to help with whatever I can.
And have you ever experienced something negative when you were confronting these people who were bullies and you stood up for your friends? Have you ever got into a dangerous situation or you felt unsafe because you were an ally at that moment for these people?
Well, not like my physical integrity, something like that. Like, thankfully, it never got so extreme. But definitely, like, being, I don't know, bullied as well, because they saw you better, like, you belong to the same group. If you're not with me, you're against me, right? Like, that's a bit the feeling, like, us against them, which is ridiculous. So I mean, I would find myself sometimes experiencing some very bad situations. Also, not even, I mean, we're talking right now about bullies, but also with family members, like
that's what I wanted
family
to ask,
members that
you...
would think that I was actually instigating or something because the son was hanging out with me a lot or whatever, and I don't know, things like that. People that just don't understand. So definitely, like, some parents or some families would not want me near their sons or whatever because I was too liberal or something like that, and I don't know.
It's insane, though.
And that's not even close to the root of what is happening. So,
Well, it's an interesting difference because often when we see, like, girls hanging out with gay guys in a bar, for instance, they are seen as fag hags, for instance. It's like, I don't like the term, but that's how some people call them. And are they just to have fun? It's it's fun to have the guys. But an ally is somebody who will just defend those people and just help them in when there's an issue also. So you're part of the community, and it's much more than the parties. It's just you're part of it. Yeah,
I think that's why in a way this letter A from my point of view is becoming more and more important to take into account in our community, because we are let's say around 15% of the population. If we take the whole community, diversity is growing in a way we could discuss that, but it means that we have some kind of power to move things, but the only way to really move things is if we make more allies, if we go out with this cisgender heterosexual people that are not part of our community directly per se, and if they become allies and join us in the fight that we have for our rights, it's what changed everything in history. It's this moment where the allies come and support us so that we can win our fights.
So you can turn people into allies?
Absolutely.
With a wand.
Recruit them. Recruit
Recruiting.
all them.
No, but seriously,
Bit of
because
casting, though. I mean, we want the best of the best, right?
it's not a choice to be gay or to be lesbian, but it's a choice to be an ally.
Exactly. I mean, it's for me that's the difference. The tipping point is that you choose your reaction towards the LGBT community, and you can be against it or you can support our rights. And this is something that you can choose, where LGBTQI plus people, they are who they are, and they are de facto part of the community in a way.
I wanted to add to that. I'm sure I'm not the only person who's had parents who were not so accepting, but then later on, as they have LGBTQI plus children, they understand what it means. They start to get educated on that, and then as life goes on, they turn into allies with that education. But also, I wanted to say the importance of allies comes. We've all seen that. Whether it's within the LGBTQI plus community or some other communities, we do live in our own bubbles where we're completely unaware of what's happening outside. And it's very easy for a gay or lesbian or transgendered person to be within their own bubble and not see what's going outside of it. Vincent, you said there's 15% of us approximately in the world. But if we don't get outside of that bubble, if we don't spread the word about the fight, about the issues, we can only do that much alone. So we really, really need this allyship. We need allies to spread the word. I can only imagine how much my friends have helped their parents understand the term gay or LGBTQI+, as my friends were telling about me to their parents at home, who don't necessarily have gay children, but they have a child who is hanging out with a gay person who is an open ally like Bea, and then comes home and talks about it with their parents. So being an ally and just like not being ashamed of saying LGBTQI+, like go outside, go to the workplace, go at home, just to start talking about it, start spreading the word, if I may say that.
But also like not being ashamed, and I also feel like also not having to give explanations, because I don't have to say to anybody, oh, you know what, I'm heterosexual. Like, I don't need to do that. And that's something that I also think it's your choice. I mean, you don't, and you also have the right to not give explanations about your life. Yeah. And if you want to say it, if you do want to say it, like that you can say it as freely as possible.
Yeah, as freely as possible.
And you also mentioned, that it's kind of interconnected. You as a woman you can understand the struggle because you, in a way, you also treated as a group, being a member of a minority group. Because I don't know how you see the struggle, the fight hand in hand with women's rights and LGBTQI plus rights. So I don't know if you have any, because you mentioned that you are actively participating in human rights, and have you ever encountered the conjunction of these two issues?
Absolutely. Like exactly the thing that I was doing naturally, I then discovered with the years reading and get informed that there is a very logical base behind that allyship or however we want to call it. Absolutely, like what you say. Obviously, I'm not gonna say here like, oh my God, poor me, I'm oppressed or whatever, because I'm very lucky, like even like with all circumstances. But it is true that we have also, as women in all cultures and societies, some doors that close in front of our noses. You also experience that. And yeah, I think it's absolutely connected. Like I consider myself a feminist, and I think feminism goes hand in hand. It's inherent with accepting all LGBTQIA plus.
In your defense, we had a topic about it a couple of weeks ago, and even we had difficulties. So yeah.
No, but yes.
Preach.
How I was saying, I mean, I'm also very surprised when I see feminist women like that don't accept trans women, especially. For example, that is something that for me is not feminism.
Yeah.
Like that just doesn't go hand in hand.
We touched a bit about the topic in previous podcast. And we could dedicate a whole podcast
Yeah, no,
about
it's a big topic, it's a
it
big
because,
topic.
I mean, it's a whole term like the trans-exclusive radical feminists. They are, in my opinion, not feminists.
Yeah, but it's not only that, it's further, because when you say ally, I think we also need allies within our community, because you have gays who are transphobes.
Yeah. That's. I think we can have another discussion about this, because today we talk about allyship outside the community, but I think we need in our community today to have a very strong discussion about allyship within the community, and how our different groups that form this very diverse community understand each other, know about each other, and understand also the connection. So, because I think, for a lot of different reasons, every group in our community needs to make its identity seen and understood, and that is important. And we have different issues, but at the core of it, when you dig, you can understand how all these issues are interconnected. And I think today in our community, that's what maybe is missing a little bit. For the most advanced groups, such as gays, for example, and lesbian in another way, towards trans or intersex people that are more recently, let's say, organized. We have kind of different situation, and every groups need to understand what is the situation of the others, and we need this allyship.
But we will have a separate episode on that, so stay tuned.
Yeah, definitely.
But I also wanted to say that I think what is very important is empathy, because with empathy we can really connect and build these bridges between the LGBTQI plus community and straight people. And I also think that because of this, we have, as a queer community, we have an obligation, I don't want to use that word, but we have an opportunity to give toolbox to straight people so they can better articulate our defense in a way to other straight people. So I think we have a 50-50 percent of responsibility to educate our straight friends in a proper way. We give them the words, the tools, the expressions that are okay for us, that we are fine with those expressions, words, and so on. And then they can really clearly articulate, and they can better understand, I think, the struggle, and they can empathize better why we are, why we fight for what we fight for.
That's very true. What do you do in daily life? Do you guys talk to people, explain them, instruct them? I do that, for instance, at work sometimes, and I see they're just about stupid small things. I just talk about them, and they're like, huh, really nice. And step by step they're getting it.
If I can start with it, when I was talking about it with my very good friend who, he happens to be a trans man, but I was talking to him about rights and about fighting, and he said something that stayed with me for a long time, which was, I'm tired of explaining my own existence. So which makes sense. And for me, it's completely fine talking to colleagues at work or to anybody else, to an unknown stranger in the street, what it means to be gay. And I don't mind sharing my coming out story to anybody, but somebody else might be uncomfortable with it. It is completely fine that trans people, that they're not fine with being asked what was your given name at birth before you decide first. There are things that you talk about, there are things that you don't talk about. For allies, it's important to understand, to be just open about the person that sits next to them, not to interrogate them, but to be open about to learn something new, and to understand that sometimes we really don't feel like explaining our own existence, telling our story over and over again, and we just want to come to a party full of other people and not tell our coming out story to everybody at their party just because we're the only gay person in the room.
But Bea, you ever felt that you wanted to ask something from a queer person, but you were kind of afraid, or you didn't really know if it was
it's the moment. It's the moment.
It's the moment. Okay, well, one question, I mean, that I had in my mind, I already got the response after a lot, like many years. But yes, I wanted to know the reason why my gay friends normally, after having dinner or when beginning to drink, they didn't eat anything else. And I was always so curious. And then I got to know why. And that was just...
Why?
That's going to be another episode.
Who's going to explain this?
I thought you wanted to ask questions about douching, but those things go well together.
Exactly. No, that's it.
Yeah, so the answer is douching. Okay, all right.
Now
Guilty.
Fiber, everybody. Fiber.
I would be the typical one that gives him like chips, like, eat, damn it. No.
Just please eat enough fiber. Just have enough fiber.
Then it was, oh my god, okay, now I understand.
Now there is, I think, there is a fine line between curiosity and intrusion, and
Definitely.
that's what an ally knows in the things that, you know that any personal, intimate question is intrusive, so you don't go and try to be intrusive. There is curiosity when there is difference and diversity, and that is normal.
Which is fine.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, everybody's curious, but then there's a way also that you can
ask questions,
and know the limits between curiosity and what is becoming intrusive.
The most stupid question ever, I think, is who's the man and who's the woman?
Oh my god.
Please.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Who's wearing
Who
the
wear the
pants?
pants?
Yeah.
Please don't ask that question ever.
But that's why I think we need community-based programs where the community comes together and we come up with different programs, different ways to give a space for straight people to understand us.
Yeah.
It could be with books, with I don't know, with
YouTube
talks,
tutorials.
YouTube tutorials, whatever. But I think if we all come together within our community and come up with these questions, we also can alleviate the stress for people who don't want to talk about their existence. So if there is a toolkit out there, we can present it, we can promote it to straight people, and then voila, we have less work to do individually.
That is such a good point, because I always see it like the way I got to learn about it, for example, with conversations, obviously, like mainly with my friends, whatever. And I mean, I think many people are also going to like relate to this. Obviously, it's something that if you're not very informed, you might say something that you didn't know, but it can hurt or can be just inappropriate. But what I think is important here, and you correct me in this, is that it always comes from a place of love and respect. Because even the times that I honestly said something that I was not even sure what I was saying or whatever, and it was disrespectful. Hey, he approached me, or he or she approached me. Hey, next time say this or say whatever. And I was like completely open, like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like I did not know this. Never gonna repeat it again.
Yeah.
So I think it's also very healthy to have like, like back and forth of ideas and talking about it without shame.
Yeah.
Because
Very
obviously
well said.
you can hurt, I mean, not even only in the gay community or whatever, like you can hurt somebody just by saying something that for that person is, I don't know, specifically important or
that's
whatever. So
I think that's a great
respect.
That's a great thing that we have to understand also, that it's not always like a bad question, it's just ignorance, and then we are there to give information. But Vincent, let's continue about
I wanted to end maybe this discussion with a little quiz for you, kind of summarize what we said and ask you, so based on what we discussed, and we discussed about a lot of things, what is the role of an ally? So what do you think an ally should do? And or this in two aspects, like how an ally talk, how he expresses himself, and what he does concretely to be supportive. So give me your best shots and
Wow.
Bogat starts.
Okay, me. Well, for me, a good ally first listens, educates him or herself, and then stands up for the rights, in a very empathetic ways, for the rights of queer people, LGBTQI+ people, and I think they can create a lot of visibility for us. So yeah, do it as often as possible. Do it in every platform, and yeah, that's how I think about it.
I will go now because
Yeah.
I will just do the
Yeah,
table
yeah.
thing. Okay, I think the same. Allies should really be defending us, and the thing is that when you have somebody big who does that, can change the world for us. So it's real. Sometimes you can make mistakes or say something that's not completely right, but the idea behind it is important. It's just the first step to say, okay, let's make the world change. And when I hear something that is not fine or I want to change something, then I will do it. And that's an ally for me.
Nice. Yeah, well, first thing is saying LGBTQIA correctly. That would be first step. Second step, I guess, also educate like ourselves and other people, like, because we were talking about like the load of work, and this is not only your thing to do. It is actually a problem that is pretty much in the heterosexual community, if anything. So it is something that we have the responsibility of changing. So yeah, I would say that, like, if I see someone doing something and I can tell him or tell her, like, whatever, inform her about the consequences or whatever that means, I think that's a duty from all of us. So educate other people from our communities and enter communities, like. Yeah.
Exactly. For me, it's not only participating, like coming out to gay pride to have a good party. It's living it 12 months in a year. For example, that a person is in a room with other 7 people and somebody says that's so gay, a real ally will come and tell you, hey, you're not supposed to say that. Or like, I don't understand trans people. Like, a real ally would say, this is not right. Maybe you should read more about it and understand that trans people have been around since the humankind. So like that's what it means for me to be an ally. Not just January to December.
And I had it even me. I was talked about because we were talking about fanny packs, and there was somebody wearing it and was like, oh, but look, it looks good on her. And I was like, yeah, it looks good on a girl. And she turned around and she said, because you're thinking binary, like looking at it, like, really? And I was like, it's not only your read. She was so completely right. Actually. So she did her job, and I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
Well, maybe to conclude, I heard a lot of things that I had put down. I would say just a few more tips maybe in the way you can express yourself. One very important tip is to respect the pronouns the person is choosing for herself. So it's not you to decide if someone is a he or a she, it's this person. So this is an issue that comes often with trans people. Also, another tip is that all this letter and all these terms like trans and gay and lesbian, they comes as adjectives. So that's a rule you can keep in your mind. It's not nouns, so we don't talk about the trans, and we should talk about the gays and the lesbians, but we should always talk about trans people and gay people and lesbian people, because it's not reducing them to only one aspect. It's, as an adjective, is one aspect of the person, but there are many other aspects. So nouns are too restrictive. Then in the things you can do, you said a lot of things, and the first thing is making time to listen, and just listen. Sometimes just listening and to someone that has his issue without even commenting, or just being there for LGBTQI people to listen is very important, because LGBTQI plus people are very isolated sometimes, and they can feel this isolation. So just being there and listen is something you can do. Not being intrusive, we talked about it. Vjeran, you touched a little bit about pride, and I would extend it to spaces of socialization. Like, everybody is welcome in our spaces, but allies also understand that these spaces are safe spaces for LGBTQI plus people. They are our spaces in a way, so they are welcome, but it's not spaces for them, so it's not all about them. And sometimes, like being at Pride,
a gay club is not a place for a bachelorette party.
I was just about to say it.
Not an attraction park. Yeah.
So it's these spaces, you have to respect them, and when you come to Pride, it's a good party and you can
Yeah.
have fun, but you need to also understand what it means.
Yeah.
And when you come to a gay bar, it's not for a bachelorette party, or it's not the zoo, or so just think about it. And we talk about speaking up. I think when you see some remarks or some aspects. So these are a few tips. There will be more in the article that will be published on KET magazine.
Thank you, Vincent, for this whole preparation. Thank you, Bea, for joining us into this great
My
conversation. Yeah, and you know what's amazing?
What?
You're part of our community.
Oh my god, I
You're
passed the
A.
exam!
No, it's true. Isn't that amazing?
You're a piece
Yeah.
of this
Yeah.
abbreviation.
Yeah. Okay. Bogat, you have a great movie you want to share with us.
Yes, because we talk about allyship, I thought I would like to bring a British movie from 2014. It's called Pride, and it's a historical comedy drama directed by Matthew Warkus and written by Stephen Beresford. I don't know if I pronounced the name correctly. Sorry if I didn't. It's about a group of young gays and lesbian people led by a very charismatic, very handsome activist, Mark Ashton, who organizing a support for the ongoing miners' strikes back in 1984. This is the era when Margaret Thatcher was ruling and she was cracking down on communities like the miners. So they were struggling financially, and Mark Ashton with the gay and lesbian girls and boys, they decided to support it morally and financially. So they come up with the idea of this organization, and the movie is very funny and sweet because it's about the relationship between them and then this tiny little Welsh mining village where people are. It's very different worlds colliding basically. And you have actors such as Imelda Staunton and Bill Nye, who participated in this project, in this movie. And in the end, this movie won the Queer Palm Prize in Cannes in 2014.
Oh, wow.
And what I really love about it is this kind of intersectionality, that we talk about class struggle and we talk about sexual orientation and how these different groups can support each other, and you can find out if the very straight Welsh people in the end made peace with these very flamboyant flaming queens and girls in this movie. So Pride from 2014. You can stream it, watch it, download it, whatever you want with it, but watch it. It's really fun.
Yeah, I'm very curious. Thank you, Bogat. An amazing singer has a song saying that music makes people come together. Yeah. Vjeran, you're our music specialist. Are you talking about her today?
About the music specialist that you just referenced, that one we can actually. Well, before we start and before we give you this week's recommendation, I thought, well, because we're talking about allies, let's try to think of a moment in music where an open ally, a musician, artist, made you say like, "Yes, Queen, you're an ally," or it can be any queer moment, any music video, any live performance, or it could just be like Kylie Minogue closing her Aphrodite tour with all the lovers. So
that's your tip.
Give me the moment by an ally in music that you will always remember.
For me, I think it was Christina Aguilera with Beautiful.
Got it.
Oh,
Because-
beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
because it was, I don't remember. It was in the 2000s, I think.
It was
2009.
definitely the
2009.
2009.
And I think it was
Beautiful? Isn't that
Yes.
before
You are
2009?
beautiful.
It was
We'll get to
the
that
video
later.
clip. It was like, okay, you had this gay couple, and I think in my memory it was one of the first music video with this idea of supporting LGBTQI plus right and with the
Yeah.
lyrics.
And there
Nice.
was also well, we don't know if this person in the video was a trans person or a transvestite or a drag queen, but it was a gender non-conforming person. And actually for me it was the same. I was 19, I think, at the time, and it was the first time when I saw something like that. So I was quite shocked. I was feeling a lot of emotions at that time because I was not really out, but it was certainly something like, wow, this is.
So it was
this is
definitely
weird.
before 2009.
No, it was in 2003.
Ah,
Was
yeah,
it?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
I thought it
Well,
was
yeah.
like super, yeah. I was 20 and something.
Who cares?
Young and wild.
Yeah.
No, because after I had Katy Perry in mind
Alright.
with Fireworks, which
Alright.
which is a little bit also the same, but it's more recent.
Next up.
Yeah, you
And Macklemore also with the Same Love.
Yeah.
That's what I was. That
Cool.
came to my mind.
well, it won't be a surprise if I tell you that it's Madonna.
Really?
Oh my god, I didn't see that one
No.
coming.
But and why? It's just she just started and she was
Yes.
an icon.
Educate.
And it's because why? Because she was a defender of the gay issue during HIV in the 80s. She was like there, okay, we need to help them. There's a big issue. And then she just continued by singing Express Yourself, by devoting, by kissing Britney and Christina on stage. It was just an amazing thing. Also in MTV Awards when there were 10 drag queens on stage. And she said,
Definitely.
well, it takes a lot of men to fill one woman's shoes. She's
Yeah.
so good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Me, I just loved when Lady Gaga went to Drag Race. Like it was
yes.
it was just crazy.
When she
So-
entered the workroom
Yeah.
in drag.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
She was there. I mean, that's a statement. Like
Well, she is a drag queen.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
she with the
That's
artistry
her
that she
brand.
does.
Yeah.
it's
absolutely.
amazing.
No, I
Yeah.
think. I mean, yeah, she's quite active in the
Yeah.
community. So
I was also going
I
to
would say
say Lady Gaga and her Born This Way performance in Grammys, and just
exactly.
it was the first song that reached #1 on Billboard that openly says gay, straight, or bi, lesbian, transgender rights. So give it up for Lady Gaga.
Don't be a drag, just be a queen.
Now we still didn't have your recommendation.
Exactly. So for recommendation, we are recommending again a true pioneer, a young, brave, and proudly outspoken, openly gay African-American rapper and singer, Lil Nas X, who actually rose to prominence with his, if you remember it, country rap single from 2019, Old Town Road. I'm gonna take my horse. Yeah, it was everywhere. It actually went viral on TikTok in early 2019, and after that, the song started climbing music charts. Then it dethroned Mariah Carey, One Sweet Day, as the song that spent most weeks on #1 on Billboard.
Really?
Wow.
And to make the story even more interesting, he came out while the song was #1, becoming a first person who actually came out. He was 19 at the time. So I'm absolutely living for a fact that African-American gay man is currently the holder of the title for a song that has spent most weeks on #1 on Billboard Hot 100. But for the recommendations part, please give yourself an audiovisual experience. Go to YouTube and watch his newest song, Montero, Call Me By Your Name. He's obviously referencing my personal favorite movie and book, Call Me By Your Name. But in that music video, Lil Nas X introduces us as viewers to his alter egos. He is living in his fantasy land of Montero, named after him, where he is free to embody his sexuality as he pleases. The video depicts several Lil Nas X alter egos in scenes inspired by history and mythology, including a makeout session with an alien version of himself, a Marie Antoinette-inspired stoning, and a lap dance with a devil.
My God.
So it's caused quite a stir, and right now on social media, I like seeing how Republicans are fueled up by this video, but don't care about the shootings that are happening in US, but they're taking their time to go to Twitter and name him as a devil's advocate. But really, alongside the Call Me By Your Name video, Lil Nas X went to Twitter to release a letter to his 14-year-old self, in which he says, "Dear 14-year-old Montero, I wrote a song with our name in it. It's about a guy I met last summer. I know we promised to never come out publicly. I know we promised to never be that type of a gay person. I know we promised to die with a secret, but this will open doors for many other queer people to simply exist. You see, this is very scary for me. People will be angry. They will say I'm pushing an agenda. But the truth is, I am. The agenda to make people stay the fuck out of other people's lives and stop dictating who they should be. Sending you love from the future. Lil Nas X.
Amazing.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you, Vjeran.
Thank you.
You know what? Guess we have arrived at the end.
No,
of
it
this
was
episode.
too short.
I know.
Time flies.
So a big thank you to Visit Brussels for supporting KET Magazine and the podcast. And of course, thank you, Bea.
Yeah,
Thank you so
Bea.
much for
Thank you
coming.
for having me.
Yeah.
Congratulations, it was perfect.
Yes. Thank you, Vincent.
Thank you, guys.
Vjeran. Thank you, Bogat. Once again, it was interesting and fun. And I hope also for you who are listening to us that you also had fun and learned something today, just like I did. So you go to our website, KET.Brussels, to read all the articles that are online now and visit our Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, but also Spotify, exactly, to listen to Vjeran's playlist. And for now, I just say bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for having me.